Shalom, shalom, shalom. All right, I'm Brother Kazak with Sons of Zion, Houston.
Brother Casadio with Sons of Zion, Houston.
All
Shalom.
praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Um, hey, welcome to another episode of Faith by Works, right, where we study a commandment week in and week out to sharpen up our ways, man, to sharpen up our ways, and to serve the Most High God in deed and in truth, right? All praise to the Most High, right? This is the book of Colossians, chapter 3, and verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Yahweh Shah, giving thanks to Yahweh, the Father, by Him. So everything that we do, right, is by Hashem Yahweh Shah, right, to glorify Him by way of His Son. That's why we say, Call Halal Yahweh by Hashem wa Malak Yahweh Shah. In the Paleo Hebrew, that means giving all honor to who the world vaguely calls God by way of His Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. This is the book of James, chapter 2, and verse 14. What does it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him? So can prophesying with your lips and saying, I have faith in the Most High God, is that enough? Is that going to get you into the kingdom of heaven? Right? Because when we read verse 17, it says what? Even so, faith, if it have not works, is dead being alone. Ye, a man say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. So you need to have faith in the Most High God by way of His Son, right? But you also need to prove your faith by putting forth the action. Love is an action word. Saying that you believe and have faith in the Most High God is an action word. So that's why we gather here today, right? Every single Sunday, right? To actually edify people and showing them little small ways, right, to hopefully, Lord willing, accumulate to show them how they show forth their faith, right? This is the book of 1 John chapter 3 and verse 18. My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth, right? So you got to put forth the works, man. There's no way around it, right? If you want to get into, you want to get your son into, little league, football, little league, t-ball, things of that nature. You got to put forth the works of coming to practice, kind of paying your dues, right? Making sure that you contributing to the cooler every single weekend when you had a game. When we did those things in the world, we understood that works had to be done, right? So why is it that we come into this truth and we think, the Lord is okay with, minimalist behavior, right? You have to show forth your love in deed and in truth, right? So the title of today's lesson is Folly Days versus Holidays. Folly Days versus Holy Days, right? Holy days, which are set apart days that the Most High God has commanded us to teach, right? So what we're going to do today is we're going to get the history, right? We're going to tap into the history of Thanksgiving, right? And then we're going to also, right, highlight the days that we're supposed to keep in exchange, right? Because our people love to say, hey, I understand, the Native Americans were murdered and slaughtered and everything, but that's not why we come. That's not why we're coming together. We're coming together to give thanks to the Lord. Are you really doing that though? Because if that was really the case, you would look at the Lord's feast days and gather on those days and do that same thing. So we have to show our people that they're actually gathering in the name of their heathen, right? Their oppressor, right? The heathen nations, their oppressor, instead of gathering in the name of the Lord Yahweh Shah, right? So we have to do these things. We have to study and seek out of the book and read. Look into these days. See how that that we're committing idolatry, and actually turn around and examine it and say, Lord, I want to come together in the name of you, right? I want to do what's commanded of me. I want to celebrate your statutes and your judgments. Instead of coming together and decorating the Christmas tree, hey, how about we actually come together, right, and decorate a table and actually prepare a feast of the Lord, right? Because you have Feast of Purim, right? Feast of Dedication, Feast of Tabernacles, Feast of First Fruits, right? We have all of these different feasts. So why are we feasting on Thanksgiving? Why are we feasting on Christmas? You understand? So let's jump into that, right? The commandment of the week, we're going to start at the top of Leviticus chapter 23, right? because the Lord has given us more feast days than the heathen, right? On these days, we're commanded to gather, eat, drink, and be merry with one another. So why don't we push our love for our family towards serving the Lord? This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, from the top. It says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel," that's you, "and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, not of Esau, not of Moab, not of Ishmael, the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations." Now, when we look up the word convocations, it means to have a holy assembly, all right? People to congregate, to gather, right? Even these are my feast. These are the feast of the Lord, not the feast of Esau, Moab, right? Ishmael. No, the feast of the Lord. Because what we have to understand is this: you can't be a servant of the Most High God simultaneously, right? Keeping the traditions of men. What it is unstable, it's hypocritical, right? It's disrespectful to your brethren, right? Specifically the tribe of Gad, okay? And most importantly, your God. You're committing idolatry. You're making the Most High God, who is a provider of everything that you have, the provider of the very breath in your lungs, you're making him jealous. What you're doing is detestable. The Most High God is unpleased with it, right? This is the book of First Corinthians chapter 10, and I'm going to start at verse 20. It says, "But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice," right, these heathen nations, okay, "they sacrifice to devils and not to God. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils." So the Lord is requiring a separation of you, Israel. He's requiring you, right, to be ye set apart, to not be like these Gentiles, not to walk like these Gentiles, but to be like your God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's saying right here, hey, you don't need to be sacrificing unto devils. You need to be having fellowship amongst yourselves, the children of Israel, and keeping my days. He says that you cannot drink the cup of with these cats, right? And drink of me. It says ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. So that contradicting statement of, hey, I understand, the history behind it. You know, I understand that, Christ was a black man and he's not that white man that they have in the paintings. But we come together to give thanks and to spend time with one another on the off day. It's folly, it's madness, it's an excuse, it's hypocritical. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils. Do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than he? So this is something you kind of got to deal with, right? Because we love to say, oh, it's not about, Caesar Borgia. It's not about, Cowboys and Indians. It's not about, all the bad things that you're talking about and that you're telling me. It's about congregating as a family, spending time with family. Well, are you really? Is that really your focal point? Right? Because I find that very, very hard to believe. Because take for an example, Thanksgiving. Why do our people get excited about Thanksgiving? They get excited about Thanksgiving because of the food, not, to give thanks. Because of the things that you say you give thanks for, right? These are the things you take for granted. I want to thank the Lord for the food on the table. I want to thank the Lord for, family. No, because you're not holding your family accountable to the Lord's statutes and commandments, right? You're not thankful for, the money in your pocket, the roof over your head, and all of these things because it's a never ending thing. You have a covetous spirit. It's never enough. You want a bigger house than the one you have. These are the spirits that's on our people. So when they say, I'm just giving thanks, they're not truly giving thanks. Because if you were to give thanks, you would be gathering with your people, serving your God, and giving back to the people less fortunate. You wouldn't be stuffing yourself with the gluttony spirit, with surfeiting, right? And we're gonna tap into that. We're gonna jump right into that, right? But the main thing I want you guys to do is to think about the very reason you gather, right? Okay. Think of the motive behind it. Because it's actually to gorge yourself with food. It's to get drunk on your day off. It's to smoke with your cousins, right? To get high so that the food will taste better. Things of that nature, right? And to get into different forms of folly. This is the book of Sirach. I'm gonna read it in the KJV Apocrypha, and then I'm gonna read it in the Common English so you can really get it, right? It's the book of Sirach, chapter 37 and verse 28. It says, "For all things are not profitable for all men," right? Certain things that you involve yourself is unprofitable. It's not necessary. It's not smart. It's not wise, right? Neither have every soul pleasure in everything. Be not unsatiable, and I think I'm pronouncing that right, Salak, if I'm not, and in
Unsatiable.
unsatiable. Khan, the water. Be not unsatiable in any dainty thing, nor too greedy upon meats. For excess of meats bringeth sickness, and surfeiting will turn into choler. By surfeiting have many perished, but he that taketh heed prolongeth his life. Right. So let's read a more simplified version. Right. This is in the Common English Bible. Right. It says all things are beneficial to everybody. All things aren't beneficial to everybody. Right. And all things aren't pleasing to every person. Don't be greedy for every delicacy. And our people, that's what's crazy. I mean, because our people see these abominable foods as, as delicacies, chitlins, right? Uh, the Jimmy Dean pork sausage up inside the cornbread dressing, right? The ham sitting in the middle of the table, right? The excess amount of turkey that consists of a lot of melatonin, right? They see these things as delicacies. Reading on, it says, and don't be unrestrained with food. Don't be uncontrollable with it. Rule your spirit. Scripture says, hey, you have to rule your spirit or you'll be likened unto a building that's going to fall, right? It says, eating a lot of food will make one sick, and gluttony will lead to nausea. Many have died because of gluttony, but those who are on guard against it will prolong life, right? And that's very, very heavy. It's very, very spiritual too, because that gluttony spirit, that uncontrollable, that unrestrained, right, greediness, you're likened unto a pig, man. That ham, you actually become that ham that's on the table. You're like a garbage disposal. You just gorging till you're fat full and want to go to sleep. And then look at the turkey with the melatonin in it. Eating that up consistently, and then boom, now you sleepy. You understand? The stuffing. Now you stuff like a teddy bear, right? Eating all of that dressing. It's very, very spiritual on this day. And this is what our people really gather together for, so they can eat, and fall asleep. This is what's happening on this day, right? So let's actually get the definition of surfeit, right? Share my screen real quick. Okay. God. Can you see it? All right. So the definition of surfeiting, right? Of surfeit, it says an overabundant supply. It says access. You understand? The second one says an intemperate or immoderate indulgence in something, such as food or drink. Right? This is a day where we like to scream beans, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkey, dressing, right? And we overly indulge in these things. And we get drunk because this is a day off, right? It says disgust caused by excess. So you really come off as a disgusting pig. You're stuffing yourself with all of this food, and you're not eating to satisfy. You're not eating to nourish, right? Which our people love to say, right? Granny, you know what I'm saying? Paw at the table, right? Thank you for this food for the nourishment of our bodies. No, you're going past the nourishment of your body, right? You're eating an overly indulgence, right? Immoderate indulgence, it says. Right here it says to feed, supply, or give to surfeit, right? So what it does is it opens up to furthermore spirits, Israel. What tends to happen is now, you know, it's tough for you. And then you wonder why come January when you set this little New Year's resolution in place where you want to really focus on your diet, you can't do that because you still have that spirit that you haven't purged up off of you, that gluttony spirit, that surfeiting spirit, where you want to eat for pleasure. And it's a never ending, it's in a bottomless pit, right? These are the things that takes place on this folly day, man. So today we're gonna actually jump into, a little history of this day. And I also want to jump into Leviticus 23 so you guys can see what the Lord commands of you and what you can make as a safe exchange. Right. With that, I'm a yield there. Go ahead, brother.
Mighty, mighty points, King. We're about to jump into a little bit of history of Thanksgiving, right? I'm about to share my screen. We know our brothers can see it real quick. Boom. Good?
You good, King?
Let's get it.
Every year at the end of November, families all across the United States celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday. This occasion has evolved into a time of expressing gratitude and sharing a bountiful meal with family. Relatives have awkward conversations while a huge turkey is scarfed down around a table. When I was in grade school, my history books depicted the first Thanksgiving meal as a peaceful gathering between white European settlers and Native American people. But there is a lesser-known truth behind this narrative.
Real quick, take note of that. White European settlers. That's going to be a common theme throughout this class.
This Thanksgiving origin story that I was taught in school was a revisionist and whitewashed version of what actually happened. Following the arrival of Christopher Columbus on the shores of America in 1492, a steady stream of white European families traveled across the Atlantic Ocean to settle in this new territory. At first, they were ill-equipped to handle the harsh realities of its wilderness and climate.
Oh, and Salakia, by the way, fair use. Fair use.
But indigenous tribes fed them and taught them how to grow corn and other crops to live on the land. Then, everything took a turn for the worse. This is where the revisionist whitewashing in this story happens, because it was not a peaceful coexistence between Native American tribes and white colonial settlers. Empowered by their religious beliefs and a racist disdain for the indigenous tribes, white European settlers murdered and stole from the indigenous communities who had been thriving on this land for thousands of years and multiple generations. These colonial settlers destroyed indigenous cultures by eradicating them, and even sold captive tribal members off to slavery. This brutal and racist genocide continued throughout the expansion of the United States westward to the Pacific Ocean. Five-term governor of Plymouth Colony, William Bradford, described Native Americans as savage people who are cruel, barbarous, and most treacherous. At every level, the settlers were...
It sounds like how they talk about us now, right? But who, at the end of the day, was being cruel, barbarous, treacherous, right? Let me get this real quick. This is the book of Micah, chapter 2, Let's start at verse 1. It says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand." Right? It's talking about these Edomites, these white Europeans, especially these colonial white Europeans, right? It says, "And they covet fields," fields being land. They covet it. It says, "and take them by violence." This is what happened. This is the history of Thanksgiving, right? We have tribes that were situated along the east coast of this land, right? More notably, the Wampanoag tribe and the Pequot tribes, right? And these people were killed off. The Wampanoag, they were killed off first, right, through the spread of disease that these colonials came and put in this land. And then they dipped off and waited for 3 years and came back and saw that it had killed 90% of these people, right? And then you got the Pequot Indians, who they just massacred through all out just violence, right? It says, "And they covered fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage," right? They have no cares about the fact that there are already a people here set up. They had a lineage built here. They learned how to maneuver and how to work the land. They knew everything about that land. They've been there. They got history there. These people didn't care. They wanted it for themselves, right? And how did they take it for themselves? Well, through violence, right? Let me keep playing.
Were intent on vilifying and disempowering indigenous people. Thanksgiving has been whitewashed as a symbol of kind gratitude expressed by the white European settlers toward native tribes. This revisionist history only serves to silence the stories and voices of the millions of indigenous people who were slaughtered under a heartless and cruel colonialist agenda. Since 1970, the United American Indians of New England have carried out a national day of mourning during the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday. This is what they have to say about it. Thanksgiving Day is a reminder of the genocide of millions of Native people, the theft of native lands, and the relentless assaults on Native culture. Participants in National Day of Mourning honor Native ancestors and the struggles of Native peoples to survive today. It is a day of remembrance and spiritual connection, as well as a protest of the racism and oppression which Native Americans continue to experience. As you enjoy your turkey over Thanksgiving, you have the power to acknowledge the impossibly sad and deeper truth behind the occasion. Talk about it.
So that's enough with that. Real quick.
Mankind, Salakia, King. Let me make one point, man. The hypocrisy here, bro. And then I'm gonna let you go ahead and jump back in there. Right. So
sure.
our people love to say that the whole purpose is to gather for family. But your family literally was murdered, right, in three-digit numbers of 700. 700 Native Americans were killed on this day, right, by European settlers, right, pilgrims, which is defined as a person who travels to foreign lands, right? These people came, stole your land, and murdered your family members. Yet you say the purpose to gather on this day is to celebrate family. Go
Hey,
ahead, King. I just wanted to point out that hypocrisy there, man.
that's honestly the spirit, King. Because shoot, no, let me just read it. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 35. I'm gonna start from the top. Right? It says, "Moreover, the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it." We all know that Esau, Edom, they're the ones that settle in Mount Seir, right? So whenever you see Mount Seir or Edom, you're talking about Esau, the so-called white man, these white European settlers, as the video was talking about, right? It says, "And say unto it, Thus said the Lord God, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Most High, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, said the Most High God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Said thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Right? At the end of the day, these people have always hated Jacob. They have always hated you, Israel. It don't matter what tribe you are. They have always hated you, and they have always sought to shed your blood. They have always sought to steal from you. Because what? They've been mad since the days of Jacob and Esau, right? When Esau said, is his name not rightly called Jacob? Because he has supplanted me this day. They've always had this perpetual hatred towards you. This hatred will not go away. It will never go away. And they're going to continue to follow you and shed your blood. It was no coincidence that they sought to go on an expedition looking for this land. They knew you were here. They knew you were here. They followed you over here because of that perpetual hatred. And they sought to shed your blood. That was really the only goal. And now they have you celebrating their folly days, the so-called Thanksgiving, and we're going to get into other ones. But the so-called Thanksgiving was them giving thanks for the shedding of your blood. And you're celebrating this. You putting the cranberry sauce on your stuffing, as the brother was bringing out, not realizing that the cranberry sauce represents your blood. Like I said, with that, I yield, man.
Kind man, good points, man. As we take away and we show you, right, the unwavering truth, right, of this folly day, I want to highlight the holy days that the Lord has set apart and said, look, this is yours. Let them do that. The scriptures say, learn not the way of the heathen in Jeremiah chapter 10 from the top, right? So we have to look into the ways of our people, right? We're going to start with the Sabbath day, okay? Because this is a day that we keep from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, right? Every single weekend, the Most High God has commanded you to keep a holy and set apart day. 6 days you have to do your work, to go clock in, clock out. 6 days you have to go grocery shopping. 6 days you have to go shopping for clothes, right? 6 days you have to go wash and detail your car, go to the barbershop, clean up your house. But on this day, you set it apart and you relax. You keep your feet up, you read some scriptures, and then you come together with your people, right? And you crack open, a bottle of strong drink, and you drink and be merry, right? This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23 and verse 2, right? Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, holy, set apart, sacred gatherings and assemblies. Even these are my feasts. It says 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, a holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is a Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. Hey, it's people that literally have to go to work on Thanksgiving, working on Christmas, right? But see the differences between the heathen's folly days. The heathen, he prioritizes money. So he's going to gather, shifts and everything so he can look out for his own company and look out for himself. But the Lord, he says that there will be no servile work. So wouldn't you prefer a day where you're commanded literally to relax versus keeping this day where, Yeah, it's supposed to be a celebration today, but I gotta go into work. So I would prefer to serve my Lord. This is a pro versus that con, right? Then what else do you have? You have the Feast of Passover. This is the book of Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. In the first day ye shall have a holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. So 7 days you need to eat unleavened bread and offer an offering unto the Lord, right? 7 days, okay, you are not to have any servile work taking place. Imagine that. How relaxing that is. How joyful that is. Hey, in First John chapter 5, bro, in verse 3, it says that his laws are not grievous. Yet Esau, don't have no, don't have does not have a celebration where you're off a whole 7 days. It's literally always one day. Those days be in the middle of the week. You understand? You got brothers and sisters really praying that that one of the Folly days falls on a Friday to where they can get a 3-day weekend, things of that nature. But the Lord says that you have multiple feast days or feasts that require to be kept 7 days, man, where you can relax, spend time with your brother and sister, right? Pros and cons. Folly days versus holy days. The holy days are a lot better, a lot more set apart, make way more sense. Doesn't involve idolatry. It involves serving your Lord and you benefit from it. So why not keep it? Right? Reading on, it says, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days, and the 7th day is a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Right? So you're supposed to congregate on the first day and the last day, right, of this feast. And throughout the 7 days, you're supposed to eat unleavened bread, right? And you remember, right? It serves as a memorial of Passover in Exodus 12, right? So these are two feast days that beat the shit out of Christmas and Thanksgiving by a long shot. So why aren't we keeping these things? Why aren't we gathering and spending that family time and being family oriented on these days, man? And this is just two of many. The whole book of Leviticus we finna tap into and getting a few others, right? A few other feasts that we're commanded to keep. Now, we're not going to actually show you, for the concept of time, I'm not going to actually show you exactly how to keep it, but we're going to briefly read them in Leviticus chapter 23. Because what I want you guys to know is you have your days. Let Esau have his. You got to understand that you fulfill his mission. We love to put our fist in the air and talk about Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. But we constantly, right, uphold and help out with the agenda of him. He has his judgment. He's going to burn with fire and brimstone for the things that he's done. Those things that he's done over 400 years ago to our people, he's got to pay for it. And he knows that he has to pay for it. So what does he do? He puts folly days in place because he knows that you're going to commit idolatry. He knows what Ecclesiastes 7 and 7 say, how a gift destroyed the heart. Oppression is going to piss you off, but you so focused on that gift underneath this folly ass tree, right? You're so focused on eating and stuffing yourself with food, right? That you don't understand the actual underlying issue that he's trying to keep you in sin because he's gonna burn. So today we're gonna actually highlight the days that you have, and we're gonna get the history of this wicked ass folly day, man. I yield there, King. You got it.
Come on, King. Let me back up what you've already bringing out, right? This is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4, right? I'm gonna start from the top. It says, therefore, seeing we have this ministry, As we have received mercy, we faint not, but have renounced the hidden things of dishonesty, not walking in craftiness, nor handling the word of the Most High deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth, commending ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of the Most High. And that's what we're out here doing for our people, week in and week out. We are pushing the truth to our people, right? And it all comes from the scripture. So you can't say that it's something that's coming out of our own minds, right? Let me keep going. Verse 3, it says, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, right? And whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of God, should shine unto them, right? So if you're not, and in Zechariah 13:8, it's clear 2/3 of our people got to get cut off and die, right? Because they are lost, they are blinded. And who are they blinded by? The God of this world. And who is the God of this world? The ruler of this world, right? The spiritual demon Satan by the hand of his people, Esau, Edom, right? Esau, Edom, the world is given into the hand of the wicked, as it says in the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24, right? A heathen nation, right? He gave you all of these folly days, right? As well as his own Sabbath day. The brother started off with the Sabbath day, right? Most of our people seem to think that the Lord's day is Sunday, which is not right, right? It all goes back to that pagan worship, right? Esau worshiped the sun, the moon, and the stars, right? Let's get this in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 from the top. Brother alluded to it, so we got to read it, right? And we're going to cook on this for a little bit. It says, hear ye the word which the Most High speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Most High, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them, right? What does this word dismayed mean? Here, Salakia, let me put it out the Merriam-Webster. Dismayed. Boom. I'm gonna share my screen real quick so y'all can see it. Boom. We good?
Yeah, you good, King. Zoom in just a little
Right.
bit for them so they can see, if you can.
Boom.
Yeah, that's good.
So this word dismay is an adjective, right? Meaning it describes something, right? It says experiencing or showing feelings of alarm, concern, or dismay, right? Just for the sake of it, right? It says a sudden loss of courage or resolution from alarm or fear, right? Sudden disappointment, right? We all know. Go to the book of Psalm, chapter 111, and bear with me. I'm using a brand new sword. Verse 10, it says, the fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom, right? Well, Jeremiah just told you that the heathen fear the signs of heaven. That's what Jeremiah just told you. And I stopped sharing that. That's what Jeremiah told you, right? The Psalm is telling you, King David is telling you, the fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments, his praise, and do it forever, right? At the end of the day, the feast days that the Most High gave us are commandments. So that means we have to do these things, right? And again, like the brother brought out in 1 John 5:3, these commandments are not grievous. They're good. I would love to take 7 weeks off as often as the Most High is requiring us to take 7 days off. 7 days off, Salakia, as often as the Most High is requiring us to do it. I would love that. Forget a day off. Understand?
Yeah, I mean, a day. You also got to think about this, King.
Again,
you know, by the time you actually by the time you actually finish cooking and everything, and you sit there, right? And by the time you digest your food, now it's time for you to go to sleep early because you got to go to work in the morning. I used to hate that, bro. You get fat full on that food, and it's like, man, I gotta go to work in the morning. No,
Yeah, man.
the Lord
It's
commanded
grievous.
you to keep your feast in 7 days at a time.
It's grievous.
Go ahead, King. I
That's why
just want to
that's why the
point that
Most High
out.
said it. Right? Again, it goes back to the sun, moon, and stars that these people worship. But what does it actually say in our law? Right? It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4. And let's start at verse 15. I'm gonna start at verse 14, right? It says, "And the Most High commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that ye may do them in a land whither ye go over to possess it. Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that the Most High spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image and similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air, the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. And lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, should be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Most High thy God hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven." Right? That's that we are commanded already that we should not make idols of these things, right? We should not worship the sun, the moon, and the stars. We should not make graven images. But we're going to see here, I got a video queued up, and I'll bring it out in a little bit, where literally all of these so-called holidays, especially the ones that are all of these so-called holidays, all of these holidays that are being celebrated that are not found in Leviticus 23, as the brother's going into, these are all pagan, right? And what does pagan mean? That means they are a polytheistic belief system. Poly meaning multiple or plural. Theistic meaning faith, right? Loosely, roughly speaking, right? Meaning they believe in multiple gods, these idols, these graven images, the sun, the moon, and the stars, right? It was the Roman Catholic Church that took the holy Sabbath day, which is Saturday, the seventh day, and turned it into Sunday. Why is that? Because of their worship of Helios, the sun god, right? We got to understand the things that we are doing when we partake in these folly days that was given to the heathens, right? Let me get two more precepts, King, real quick. Bear with me. It's the book of Psalms. This is the 148th Psalm. And verse number, again, I'm going to start from the top, but I really want verse number 3, right? It says, "Praise ye the Most High. Praise ye the Most High from the heavens. Praise him in the heights. Praise ye him, all his angels. Praise ye him, all his hosts. Praise ye him, sun and moon. Praise him, all ye stars of light." At the end of the day, these things cannot compare to the Most High God because they have to praise him. But the heathens praise these things. And we follow after those customs, right? We follow after the fact that they say that we should be worshiping on Sunday. But the Most High God says we should be worshiping on the seventh day, right? It's the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 25, right? It says, "And he," meaning Esau, "shall speak great words against the Most High and shall wear out the saints of the Most High." The saints will be us, right? "And think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and the dividing of time," right? At the end of the day, we've been given into the hands of Esau, right? And he's changed in his mind the laws of the Most High and has us following these things, right? Like I'm saying, with that, I yield.
Great points, King. Mighty, mighty points, right? So consistently, I want to show you, right, while I got you here and I got your attention, I want to show you guys the actual feast days that you have. So let's get a couple more, right? So we got the Feast of First Fruits. It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 23 and verse 10. It says, "Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priests." The priests were the workers of the tabernacle of the Most High God, the holy temple, right? And they did their servile work for free, right? Just to glorify the Most High God, right? By not way of wages. And how did we pay them? We paid them with the fruits of our harvest by giving alms to them, showing love to them. So keep that in mind the next time you put your foot underneath the table and you eat ham, all right, cornbread dressing, right, green beans, and candy yams with the pork marshmallows on top, right? You need to remember these things, that it's actually a holy and set apart way that the Most High God has commanded you to give thanks to your people. So right here, we give thanks to the priest and we offer an offering to the Most High God with the first fruits of our harvest in the springtime, right? It says, "And shall reap the harvest thereof, and ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest, and he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you. On the morrow, after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it," right? So that's a memorial, right? The Feast of First Fruits, where we gather the first fruits of our harvest, right? And we give it as an offering unto the Most High God, right?
Hey, it's a lot. No Thanksgiving, right?
No Thanksgiving. Absolutely no Thanksgiving, man. We give thanks unto the Lord, right? And we give thanks to our brothers, right? And the of the Levite tribe who does their servile work in the holy temple, right? This is what we do. We give thanks to them. We don't hold Thanksgiving of 700 of our brethren of the tribe of Gad being murdered and slaughtered, right? Where our land was taken away from us. You understand? We have to keep these things in mind when we say, "Oh, we're gathering for the sake of family." Now, another one, blowing of the trumpets. This is a memorial, right? Where we blow the trumpets in time of affliction. We blow the trumpets as warning that things are coming and somebody's in danger. Hey, we blow the trumpet right when we're fasting and afflicting ourselves. We blow the trumpet right when we're happy, rejoicing, right? And that we're coming together to glorify the Most High God. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23 and verse 24. It says, "Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month and the first day of the month shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets." The different reasons from blowing the trumpets on this day, we celebrate that, right? It's an actual custom of our people. And on this day, right, this is when we eat, when we come together, right, and we blow our trumpets. Reading on, "A holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord." So you make an offering, right? You have a feast, right? You blow your trumpets and you come together and you enjoy the unity of brethren, as so beautifully put in Psalm 133 and 1. You understand? This is another day, another memorial where we're commanded not to do any servile work and we're supposed to come together.
Slocky, but it's not Memorial Day, right?
No, it's not Memorial Day. See, our people, man, our people, bro, it's always something. It's always something that you need to look into. Our people have to actually look at this and be like, okay, I know that there's an alternative. I know that there's a way to serve my God and not this heathen. Because they literally bite off of us. They've been doing it. How would you feel if you walked into a Chinese restaurant and you see Esau in the kitchen? Is it authentic? Absolutely not. See what I'm saying? What our people have to do is they have to understand, bro, that they have their own culture and they have theirs. Those are the two. I'm gonna finish out with 3 more and then we can wrap it. You go ahead. You got it, King. I'm gonna pass it to you.
Like the brother say, they're a different people, and that's their culture, right? We about to really nail it home real quick right here, right? It's the book of First Chronicles, chapter 16. We're gonna start at verse 23, right? Sing unto the Most High all the earth, show forth from day to day his salvation, declare his glory among the heathen, his marvelous works among all nations, right? At the end of the day, the Most High severed us from all people, right? We're supposed to be sanctified, holy unto himself. We're supposed to be separate to the Most High God, doing his will, while the heathens are in their abomination, right? That's what the purpose was for Israel being a people, right? Verse 25, it says, for great is the Most High, and greatly to be praised. He also is to be feared above all gods, for all the gods of the people are idols. But the Most High made the heavens, right? At the end of the day, we got the one true God. And our heritage is to keep these feast days that he gave us, right? Not the feast days to those idols that these heathen nations worship, right? And that sounds like a good time to get into this video right here, right? Share my screen again. Just let me know they can see it.
All right, you green. You can
Right.
zoom in. Oh, you good. You can make it a big screen. All right, go ahead.
Let's get it.
Pagan was originally a term used by early Christians. Over time, we
That's a
started
lot.
using
When they say Judaism, it's not talking about those Amalekites over in the land right now. It's talking about the way, right, that our forefathers practiced, right, in the times of Christ and the apostles, right?
major contemporary religions. Also, as an acronym for people against goodness and normalcy, but only what other old or new God topics you'd like to hear about. Now, time to take the pagan challenge. No one would have really a kind of put down, referring to people they viewed as believers in false gods. The term derives from the Latin word pagus, which refers to a rural region inhabited by an uncivilized bumpkin. In modern reality, but reject the world's largest religions, have reclaimed paganism as a concept and made the word their own.
Again, so understand what it's going into, right? It said nature worship. We brought it out already in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4, right? Worshiping all of these created things, right? And not the Most High God. This is the root of all of this folly, right? Not even just the folly days, but all of this folly that goes on in this world. Let's get it.
So when we refer to paganism here, we're not talking about a single coherent set of beliefs that any one group in one part of the world held, but we're referring to generally all the collective things people believed in ancient times that didn't involve Abraham, Isaac, the Torah, or Jesus, and stuff like that. Most famously, these cultures and faiths started celebrating many of the same holidays that we still take off work today. Halloween, for example, dates back to the Celtic festival of Samhain. Wait, who's taking Halloween off work? In Samhain, the veil separating the worlds of the living and the dead was believed to break down, allowing souls to cross over. It was probably also influenced by Festival of the Dead celebrated in ancient Rome, during which people would bring offerings of food to their loved ones' graves to keep their memories alive. Valentine's Day also started as a Roman fertility festival, celebrating the god Lupercus, who protected farmers and shepherds. Lupercalia, as it was called, was held in mid-February to ensure a fruitful and fertile year, and found celebrants feasting, making ritual sacrifices of goats and dogs. Oh man, not dogs. And even running naked through town while being flogged with strips of flayed goat skin. Oh, the things we do for love. Commemorating birthdays was fairly uncommon in early Christian culture, so a lot of our modern day traditions around the event derive from earlier practices. In some Germanic cultures, evil spirits were believed to cross over into our world and attack children on the anniversaries of their births. That's not a cool birthday surprise. Believers placed lit candles on a birthday cake, one for each year of life, to keep these angry demons at bay. Wedding celebrations also owe a debt to pagan traditions. Some historians and anthropologists think that the practice of wearing wedding rings or bands dates back to the third dynasty of Egypt's Old Kingdom, when the exchange of rings more generally indicated a binding agreement between two parties. Greeks and Romans also believed that the fourth finger was special and contained a vein that ran directly to the heart. It was sometimes known in these cultures as the medicated finger, used to stir up mixtures and potions, as its special connection to the heart would immediately warn the apothecary of the presence of a toxic ingredient. Hey, why don't you just keep your finger out of my drink? Wearing a wedding ring on the medicated finger, therefore, indicates an added layer of commitment, love, and sentimentality. The pagans also gave us bridesmaids and other traditions associated with the wedding party, though they actually had a role to play aside from taking the bride to Vegas and getting her wasted. Some cultures believed that it was helpful to have other women around during a wedding ceremony, all dressed alike, in order to trick evil spirits into attacking them instead of the bride herself. Those are pretty gullible spirits. Even some contemporary Christian holidays had their origins in pagan culture. Easter was originally named for Ustra, a West Germanic spring goddess, who was feted for bringing longer, brighter days when food started to grow once more in abundance. Ustra was frequently symbolized by a hare, which remained closely connected to the Easter holiday even after the event was repurposed to commemorate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Christmas as well originated as the pagan festival of Yule, a nature ritual celebrating the continuation of life on Earth even during the darkest and coldest months of the year. Many Yule traditions, like lighting a Yule log, giving gifts to family and friends, and decorating your
Singing Yuletide carols.
home with wintry green plants like mistletoe, holly, and ivy, are now baked into our annual Christmas celebrations.
Right, and I'm honestly stopping right there. It goes deep, and I would recommend y'all check this out because it's a lot. It's a lot that's tied to the gods that these heathens celebrate, right? And notice that, I mean, damn near every culture that he brought out, whether it be Germanic, Nordic, Rome, it's all Esau. It's all Esau, right? Check this out. This book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15, right? I'm starting at verse 7, but I'm gonna skip down, right? So verse 7, it says, "For the potter, tampering soft earth, fashioneth every vessel with much labor for our service. Yea, of the same clay he maketh both the vessel that serve for clean uses," meaning cups, bowls, plates, right? Those are clean use vessels, right? Because they serve a purpose to help us contain our food so we can eat from it, right? He says, "And likewise also all such as serve to the contrary." So he's also making vessels for unclean use, right? But what is the use of either sort? The potter himself is the judge. And employing his labors lewdly, he maketh a vain god of the same clay, right? So that's the contrary. That's some unclean uses. "Even he which a little before was made of earth himself, and within a little while after he returned to the same, out of the which he was taken, when his life was lent him, shall be demanded," right? So these people are making gods out of the same dirt that they was made out of, not realizing that what they're creating is even lesser than them, even though they're made from the same dirt. The person that made it was lent life from the Most High God, right? It says, "Notwithstanding, his care is not that he shall have much labor, nor that his life is short, but striveth to excel goldsmiths and silversmiths, and endeavoureth to do like the workers in brass, and counted it his glory to make counterfeit things." So at the end of the day, it all goes back into you worshiping yourself. It's idolatry, right? And that's what Esau does. Esau is the one that wants to make himself as God. He sitteth in the temple. You know what? Let me get that. Let me get that. The classic. Boom. It's the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, right? In verse 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, right? This is the pride of Esau. This is the pride of Esau. That's why when you see in Job 9 and 24, when you see in 1 Maccabees 3 and 48, the whitewashing of all of our forefathers and the prophets and the apostles, even Yahweh Shah himself, even the Most High, right? They all make these images to look like them, right? This idolatry at the end of the day is them worshiping themselves, right? I'm going to skip down in Wisdom of Solomon. Chapter 15, I'm going to start at verse 14. It says, and all the enemies of thy people that hold them in subjection are most foolish and are more miserable than very babes, right? And you understand that all the enemies of the Most High's people is all the other nations, the chief being Esau, right? Verse 15, for they counted all the idols of the heathen to be gods, which neither have the use of eyes to see, nor noses to draw breath, nor ears to hear, nor fingers of hands to handle. And as of their feet, they are slow to go. For man made them, and he that borrowed his own spirit fashioned them. But no man can make a god like unto himself, right? At the end of the day, all of these folly days that we hold in high esteem, that we've been taught from our youth up to keep, especially here in this country, right? We just saw the video. The history of it is the worship of idols, right? Things made by man's hands, right? Things that at the end of the day puffet Esau up to have you worshiping him. And we see it with our people all the time. People they may not want to admit it to themselves, but our people worship Esau, the god of this earth. Like I say, and with that, I yield.
Khan, I got a little short list of rhetorical questions to give to Israel, right? For all of the listeners, right? I want you to get you pause it now, and you can get you a piece of paper and a pen. I want you to write down, all right, these pagan gods to look up, and I strongly suggest you to do your research on these things, right? Because for every folly day, there is a pagan god that you're worshiping. There is a misunderstanding that you have, right? And I encourage you to do research so you can actually identify the sin that you're indulging with, right? When I first started, right, giving breadcrumbs to my mother, you know, giving her the understanding that I have, right, through the power of the Most High God, the first thing that I attacked is these holiday, these folly days, right? And I wanted her to understand, just like you, the what it is you're worshiping, what customs you're keeping, and what you're involving yourself in, right? So we're gonna start off with New Year's. Who is Janus? Pagan god Janus, Janus. Look that
Salaki,
up.
man. I'm glad you said that. I
Come.
mean, it goes deep. All of the months of the year on the so-called Julian calendar are named after a pagan god. All
Yep.
of the days of the week are named after a pagan god. It goes deep.
This shit is crazy.
It goes deep.
For real.
Like I said, in the video that we just played, I encourage y'all to watch it because it goes into those too. Right? It's like, hey,
Hey, brother's right. Hey, he enlightened me about the days of the week. I didn't know that. Right? So check this out. Who is Janus in accordance to New Year's? Right? The two-faced God. Right? When it comes to Valentine's Day, who is Pope Gelasius or Galasius, right? And Lupercus. Okay. When it comes to March 17th, all right, St. Patrick's Day, if you will. Who is Luke, spelled as in Lugh, and Asteria. These are two pagan gods involved in St. Patrick's Day. Remember that shit before you put on some green attire and you say, "Oh, I'm not wearing green." He gonna try to pinch me. Remember these things, right? When it comes to so-called Easter, who is Ishtar? Okay. When it comes to what the alphabet community likes to say as Pride Month, I want you to look in the book of Genesis and to see why it is the Most High God gave you a rainbow. It's in the book of Genesis, and I encourage you to look at it. Before the concepts of time, we're not going to go there. Why did God give us a rainbow, and how does he feel about pride and homosexuality? Because our people think that they are born with it and that they are a victim of, and I tapped into this on that, same-sex marriage of Faith by Works episode a couple of weeks ago. Our people highly believe that it's because they are a victim of molestation at a young age, and they think that they are born with it. But this is spiritual. You understand? This is a stronghold that is on our people. It is a mental illness, and prayer and fasting removes this. Okay? Prayer and fasting and believing that the Most High God is your God and your God only, and that you continue to, fast and pray, right? And apply these things, apply these commandments, right? So when it comes to July 4th, what exactly are you celebrating on July 4th, and where, all right, were we as a people on this day? Weren't we still in chains, right? Weren't we still property of Esau, right? Look into these things before you go and you purchase all of this meat and you fire up the grill and you put American flags in your front yard. That drives me crazy. How people put American flags in their front yard, but they won't even have, right, the audacity to celebrate Juneteenth. It drives me crazy, man. And they putting pork and defiling their pit, but that's something else, right? So next, on Halloween, who is Samhain? And that's spelled Samhain, right? When it comes to Thanksgiving, who is Ceres? Ceres. And who was murdered on this day? Like we just tapped into 700 members of the tribe of Gad, your family members were murdered on this day. Remember that before you say, "Oh, we gather for the sake of family members," right? Now, when it comes to Christmas, who is Nimrod? When was Christ actually born? During what season of the year? And does Christ even celebrate his birthday? Look into these things, right? And I'm gonna get you these last two feast days, and then I'm gonna pass it to the brother, right? So this is the Feast of Tabernacles, Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 33. And it reads, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles, for 7 days unto the Lord. On the first day shall be a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein." So consistently, right, repetitively, it says 7 days, no work, 7 days, a offering, 7 days, a holy convocation on the first and the second day. Salaki. These are how we keep the feasts of the Lord, right? You have way more time to spend relaxing. and spending time with brethren, and you actually look into your customs on this day, actually look into the reasoning behind it. It's different reasons why we celebrate these different feasts. And I encourage you to look into them. Like I said, I'm touching on it and I'm highlighting the feast that we have, and I'm telling you not to keep the feast of your oppressors. Holy days versus folly days, right? This is the book of Leviticus. Salakia. This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 7 and verse 9, pertaining to the feast of dedication. And it reads, "And in the 8th day, they made a solemn assembly, for they kept the dedication of the altar 7 days, and the feast 7 days. And on the 23rd day of the 7th month, he sent the people away into their tents, glad and merry in heart, for the goodness that the Lord had showed unto David and to Solomon and to Israel his people." So this is a day, right? These are days where you are glad, you're merry, and you celebrate the goodness of the Lord, right? You give thanks. You remember that, right? On the next time you think about going and seeing your people on Thanksgiving. You need to encourage that you have your own. I won't be in attendance. I won't be sacrificing unto idols. Instead, I'm looking into our feast, and I encourage you to do the same. Lastly, the Feast of Purim, and then I'm going to show you the calendar, right? The SOZ calendar of the feast days so that you guys can write it down and that you'll have this in your notes for all our virtual followers, right? Because we do have, some followers of this body who are, places like Chicago, San Francisco, places like that where they're following us, but they can't convocate with us, right? Due for financial reasons. But you'll have these down to where you can celebrate them in your homes, right? So let's go to Esther, right? Talking about the Feast of Purim. We're going to go to Esther chapter 9, and I'm going to start at verse 17. It says, "On the 13th day of the month Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested they, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th thereof, and on the 15th day of the same they rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness and feasting, and a good day, and of sending portions one to another." So you remember that when you try to say in your heart, "Damn, man, what about the kids? No more Christmas?" Hey, man, all year round, you give and you provide. And on this day, you can give fourth portions. It makes me, it makes me sick, and it really irritates me how Esau has cultivated our minds into thinking, hey, your parenting skills and your credibility as a parent is based off of what you can put underneath the damn Christmas tree once a year. No. Okay? Because in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 4 through 9, it teaches us how to love the Most High God in deed and in truth with all our heart, soul, and mind. And we're supposed to teach these to our children. We're supposed to put it on the doorpost of our house. That's how you serve your God. That's what makes you credible. When we go to the book of what? I think it's First Timothy, or is it First Peter, right? Chapter 5 and verse 8. Salaki, I can't think of it right now. I think it's First Timothy 5 and 8, where it tells you how if you don't teach these things to your children, you are worse than an infidel, and you fail to keep your responsibilities as a parent, right? In the book of, what is it, King?
That's First Timothy 5 and 8.
First Timothy 5 and 8, the water, right? And then also in the book of Sirach, it tells us, or is in Proverbs, where we're supposed to teach our children the way so that they don't depart from it in their age. This is how you show credibility as a parent. Not putting no damn gifts underneath the Christmas tree, right? And y'all need to keep y'all child off of that pedophile, that white man's lap, taking pictures with your child in the white man's lap. It's nasty. It's pedophile and it's spiritual too. They putting spirits on your child, man.
Hey, Salakia King. Brothers was bringing it out in the chat yesterday evening, talking about
What's that?
mullet. Talking about
Oh
mullet.
yeah, see that?
That's literally what that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I put the precept in there. It's actually in the law. We shouldn't cause our children to pass through the fire unto Molech, right? And
right.
sitting your child on Santa's lap is literally a representation of what these heathens were doing, right? Kind of having a big brazen bull, right? That you can kindle a fire under and get that bull real hot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these people will literally sacrifice their babies. They will put it either in some cages that were cut into the bull, or they will put it in the bull's hands. So as that statue would get hot, literally cook their babies alive.
See if you can Google that, King, so they can get a visual of it on what you're talking about. And while he gets that, Israel, I'm gonna pull up our calendar, like I was telling y'all. Let me share my screen real quick. All right. So check this out. Can you see it good, King? I know you're researching right now. Okay, all praises. Right. So right here, we started off in Leviticus 23 and verse 1 through 2, right? And then it jumps into it. Sons of Zion, we kept the new moon, all right, at sundown on July 5th, right? So once a month, right, we keep these new moons, right? And you can look into what's that Psalm chapter 83 to gather the information on that, on how to keep it and why we keep it, right? August 3rd is another new moon. September 2nd, another new moon, right? Look at all of these different feasts. I want y'all to understand how ungrievous serving the Most High God is when it comes to his feasts, right? Got the Day of Atonement in October, the 10th month of, the 10th day of October, Salakia, right? And then you learn how to actually keep the Day of Atonement in what Isaiah chapter was that 58, okay, and also here in Leviticus, right? Got the Feast of Tabernacles. See that? The Feast of Dedication, with the reference in Bible scriptures right next to it on how to keep it and why we keep it. The destruction of Nicanor, not a major feast day, but a day we're definitely supposed to acknowledge, right? And keep in remembrance. The Feast of Purim. We went into Esther 9, right? And then, right here in April, Feast of Passover. Feast of Passover and unleavened bread, right? So we have our feast, Israel, and we have way more feasts, all right, than Esau, okay? Where we're commanded to relax, come together, drink, be merry, feast, eat good food. So why are you keeping his days? Why are you trimming your ways for your oppressor? Why are you having blanket statements come from your lips talking about, well, that's not why we do it for this? No, man, stop doing it altogether. Keep your feast days. It's plain and simple, man. But with that, that's it, man. You want to show them that illustration, King?
Let me get that. Molech. Share. All right. So, like I say, you can either look like this. So, man. They literally put their babies in these little cages, and they'll set that fire, and they'll get hot, and they'll cook their children alive, right? Or it'll be something like this. It's a better picture. Yeah, they all do the same thing. Something like this, right? They literally have the statue on fire, this metal statue on fire, and they'll literally sit their children in his hands, right? Same thing, right? This is what the heathens are doing. And it's still represented today. They're still doing it today. Whenever you take your child to the mall and you sit them on Santa's lap, this is what you're doing. Oops, Salaki. This is what you're doing. Why you think Santa wear red? Because he's a hot metal beast.
Man, I seen it a while back. Santa, right, is a scrambled word of Satan.
Exactly.
Seen that before. You know what I'm saying? Saint Nick. Who is that? You know, it's like people got to look into, you know, the spiritual realm of all of the things that they're doing. They're doing it naive. They just doing it because everybody else doing it. Look into the reason and look into the history, because why are you allowing, right, the same people who beat, murdered, raped, all right, your people, and you're letting them teach you the Bible? You're keeping their feast days, right? And because they light up the downtown streets and they light up and they put arcs around your neighborhoods and stuff like that, and they light up everything, and you think that this is good. Well, you need to look into these things. Do your own research, man. Right? You have a God and they have theirs, man. You had anything else, King?
I'm gonna bring out 2 closing precepts, and we can wrap it up here because we minute. Hour 21.
Hey,
This is
do the
book of
spirit though. Do the spirit.
Con King. I'm gonna have to bring out some more of these precepts at camp today, if I teach Lord with. Right. It's the book of Colossians, chapter 2, verse 8. You know what? I'm gonna be funny. I'm gonna be funny with him. Okay? I'm gonna start at verse 6. Right. It says, as ye have therefore received Hamashiach Yahushai, the Lord, so walk ye in him, rooted and built up in him, and established in the faith, as ye have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving. Not on Thanksgiving, with thanksgiving. Right? Verse 8, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Hamashiach. Right? So we got to make sure that we're not following after the ways of the world, because we've been deceived into following these things at the end of the day, right? These traditions that we keep, that we hold on to year after year after year after year, they are not of the Most High God. They are not of Yahushua Hamashiach. These things are after the world. They are after Satan, who's the God of this world, like we brought out earlier, right? Like I say, the Most High, like the brother's been bringing out, the Most High God gave us feasts that are way more glorious than the things that we're keeping, right? They give us way more time off than the things we are keeping, right? And they honor the Most High God, right? Let me get this one final precept just to show you. Again, bear with me. It's a new sword. These pages are kind of thin. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 31, right? And I'm starting at verse 12. It says, and the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Most High that doth sanctify you. Right? Ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. Right? I'm gonna jump down to verse 16. Right? Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generation for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. Right? So understand the Sabbath day and all of these Sabbaths, aka these feasts that the Most High God had ordained to us. Right? These are a sign. These, and mind you, there's other works that go into it, but these are major works that signify to the rest of the world who your God is. When you're keeping the rest of the world's folly days, what are you saying to the Most High? And that'll be my rhetorical question that I want y'all to think about. And with that, I yield.
Kind. Hey, meditate on this, right? Do y'all research, right? Lord willing, this video was edifying or will be edifying in the coming days. With that, we say shalom, right? We love you, Israel. Hey, y'all be careful during this folly season.
Folly season.
Folly season, like a mug, bro. Right? I strongly recommend that the brothers, right, look after your wives and make sure that you have their location set. A lot of the crime rate really increases and it's spiked during this season. So watch out, you know what I'm saying? So hey, with that we say shalom.
Shalom.